The Drake and Kendrick feud just turned into something way bigger than anybody expected. Word is, a leaked tape caught Drake talking about taking Kendrick out.
He did an interview and he basically threatened to shoot Kendrick if he comes to Toronto.
Oh, that's crazy.
If he dared show up in Toronto on tour, and that's only scratching the surface. The whispers about what's really on that tape go way deeper than anyone imagined. We're talking about murder threats that nobody saw coming. People think Toronto is all calm and safe, but not when Drake feels his legacy is on the line. In hip-hop, beef doesn't always stay on wax. Sometimes it spills into that razor-sharp line between music and real-life danger. What started as lyrical back-and-forth bars between Drake and Kendrick Lamar suddenly morphed into raw threats, real fear, and energy that felt like war. The world heard verses, but the streets heard warning shots. And here's where it gets wild. This wasn't just a regular rap beef, it was straight up a battle for the crown. Out of nowhere, a name barely known outside of Toronto, Top 5, jumped into the mix, publicly threatening to shoot Kendrick if he touched down in the city. But here's the catch. This wasn't some random street rapper talking tough. He's a known Drake affiliate, and rumor says Drake even helped fund his legal defense when Top 5 was on trial for murder. The streets claim the two were even plotting on Kendrick.
Stadium tour.
Gotta be.
Right, but what's interesting about this tour is on June 12th, they're playing in Toronto, Ontario, at the Rogers Centre.
Now tell me, does that sound like your typical rap feud? So what really lit the fuse? It all popped off when Kendrick and SZA announced their joint tour, a once-in-a-generation collab that had fans screaming with excitement. But there was one date on that flyer that sent shockwaves through Toronto. June 12th, Rogers Centre. That meant Kendrick was bringing Not Like Us, the diss track that shook the whole world, straight into Drake's own city. The vibe instantly shifted. You could feel the tension, the disbelief, like everyone in the Six knew a storm was coming. Kendrick stepping into Toronto with Not Like Us wasn't just a concert move.
Drake's guy Top 5 said he'll respect Kendrick if he shows up without police security, which is ridiculous. He did an interview and he basically threatened to shoot Kendrick if he comes to Toronto.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was like marching straight into enemy territory and throwing up a flag. To the streets, that crossed a serious line. Toronto pride runs deep, and for many locals, that was pure disrespect. But just when fans thought it couldn't get messier, the shot came from someone nobody expected, a rapper most outsiders barely knew, but the city knew all too well. Top 5. On camera, Top 5 dropped a chilling warning. He told Kendrick, better come without police. And it wasn't some random lyric or tweet. This was a direct threat caught on video. He mocked the idea of Kendrick rolling in with heavy police security, saying if he did, it would prove he was soft. But if Kendrick showed up unprotected, the message behind that threat was clear as day, and it sent chills through the whole culture.
Schoolboy Q claimed the show was canceled in Canada.
Canceled, so for them to book Kendrick up there like that, well, hey, listen, it's letting you know either it was a myth on how much pull he had, or they saying, hey, look, out with the old, in with the new.
That wasn't random. That was a straight-up warning shot. Even Tony Yayo, a G-Unit veteran who's seen it all, admitted he was shaken by Top 5's threat. Not because he believed Top 5 would actually pull the trigger, but because he knew how messy it gets when rap clout collides with real street weight. And here's the kicker. Yayo confirmed something people always whispered about. Canada is not soft.
So I stay neutral, all of that. If the whole thing is when you say certain things, you gotta remember the police and the feds are watching.
That polite stereotype doesn't exist in the underground. Toronto got real hitters, and Drake's circle, it's packed with street-certified dudes who move in silence. Now let's be clear, nobody's saying Drake told Top 5 to make that threat, but if you drop money on a man's murder defense, and then that same man jumps on camera threatening your biggest rival, it starts looking less like coincidence and more like a chess move. That's why people started questioning Drake's shadow alliances and the power he really holds in the Six.
I got my head up high, my back straight, I'm 10 toes down in Florida, anywhere else I go, and I know that no matter what, it's not a on this earth that can ever fuck with me in my life.
Even Whack 100 jumped into the convo, exposing the myth of Drake being the undisputed ruler of Toronto. He reminded everyone how Drake allegedly used to get shows shut down and even had names like Schoolboy Q and Roddy Ricch blocked from entering Canada. But this time,
Me, I do music, in case you didn't know. I'm here, as you can see, fully intact. Mind, body, and soul, in case you were wondering. Right?
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. You need facts to take me out. Fairy tales won't do it.
Kendrick was locked in to perform at the biggest stadium in Toronto. That was basically the city saying, "You're not the king anymore." And that's what set everything off. So when Top 5 spoke up, he wasn't just defending Drake, he was defending Toronto. He was protecting an empire.
Y'all thought y'all could knock the boy off for real?
No.
Making sure nobody disrespected the Six, and maybe even hinting Kendrick wouldn't leave that stadium alive. Was it just clout chasing or something way darker? One thing's for sure, the cops weren't laughing. Tony Yayo broke it down plain. Once people start making murder threats on record, law enforcement tunes in immediately.
He is who he is. His team is gonna make sure he's right. And he's focused, and he come from a city where he was raised in that and had to walk down the street in that. So, you know, at the end of the day, what they gonna have some sharpshooters or something? You know what I mean? What are we talking about?
And that's where things got sticky for Drake, whether he liked it or not.
Drake is Toronto. You can't disrespect Drake and then
but you don't have to go to Toronto,
and think
though.
everything's gonna be all.
Because the second a death threat gets tied to someone you financially backed, you're no longer just a rapper in a beef.
I mean, what's gonna happen when Kendrick performs Not Like Us in Toronto? Because he's gonna have to perform it. There's no way he could do that show without performing this.
You're officially a person of interest. That's exactly how the rumors spiraled. Whispers started spreading that Drake's inner circle was plotting something way bigger. Suddenly, Kendrick's Toronto date wasn't just a tour stop.
Drake's bodyguard did get shot.
It looked like a setup waiting to happen. People wondered if OVO's reaction was defiance or straight up defense, preparing to protect the empire at all costs. Drake himself never addressed the Top 5 murder threat directly, but he sure let his energy be known on stage in Florida. When he shouted, "No one can touch me," that didn't sound like regular crowd hype. That sounded like a coded message, and to some, it felt like he was aiming those words directly at Kendrick. Then came his response on X and QC's Twitch stream, laid back on the surface, but still throwing shade. He brushed it off as fairy tales, saying, "You need facts to take me out." That's not just confidence. That's a man under heat trying to deny the storm without naming names. Notice what he didn't do. He never mentioned Top 5, never addressed the murder threat, and never clarified the legal help rumors. He just danced around it all. And when the pressure turned up even higher, Aiden Ross got bold and led a Kendrick chant during Drake's UK show. And instead of ignoring it, Drake leaned right into it. That move said it all. He wasn't backing down, he was feeding the fire. That's not a man trying to squash beef. That's a man turning the heat all the way up. The real question now is Kendrick even safe in Toronto? Let's keep it real. Kendrick isn't new to this game. Like Whack 100 reminded everyone, he grew up walking through the hardest streets of Compton. He's not scared of gangsters, he was raised around it. But just because you survive Compton doesn't mean Toronto is gonna roll out the red carpet. Not when the city is riding for a king they feel is being disrespected on the world stage. Even industry voices like Sino and Whack 100 said it plain. When Kendrick performs Not Like Us in the Six, chaos is guaranteed. So the real debate becomes, will Drake let him perform it, or will things erupt like the night Drake's own bodyguard got shot in Canada? That moment blurred the line between lyrical beef and real street violence, and Whack 100 wasn't shy about dropping that bomb on the culture. Coincidence? Maybe, but in a war this hot, nothing feels like coincidence anymore. And here's where things go nuclear. The threats, the shots, the diss tracks were already pushing it, but then came the leak.
How did that relationship start and then you working with him?
Through Wayne, you know, he's with Cash Money.
Audio recordings started floating through the underground, and the whispers said it was Drake himself on tape, indirectly speaking on Kendrick Lamar and the fallout from his disrespect.
2 Chainz, why did you lie to Drake about being good?
Kendrick said 2 Chainz said you good, but he lied. Why you do that? I just think it was kind of like some wordplay because Drake and I got a song called No Lie. Mm-hmm. And so when he said he lied, I just felt like, I don't know. But I didn't take it as no kind of way. I don't think he was taking a shot at me. I've heard all type of instances where somebody want me to say something back. I just think it was a moment where it was about Atlanta artists.
Suddenly, this wasn't just rap headlines. This felt like one of the most incriminating leaks in hip-hop history. Drake didn't know he was being recorded, but he spoke anyway. And when that clip hit the underground, the entire culture shifted.
It was good. Drake was showing that he got dog in him, though. Even if he lost, if he was to say anybody lost, to me, he ain't lose. But
wait, you don't think Drake lost?
No.
You think Drake won?
Yeah, this is the thing.
We don't have the full tape, and of course, Drake's team is staying silent, but insiders swear the audio is real. And if it is, this beef just went from lyrical smoke to DEFCON 1. What's being whispered in back rooms, secret group chats, and burner accounts is wild. Insiders claim the leaked audio catches Drake venting about getting outshined and allegedly hinting his people should handle it if Kendrick pushed the disrespect any further, especially in Toronto.
Okay, you being a simply because you lost. Simply because Kendrick Lamar kicked your ass lyrically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And anybody acting like this is anything more than Drake's feelings being hurt, you are O2. OVO to be exact, okay? He's fighting the same war that Michael Jackson fought. Drake is taking a stand for the art and the artists. People who are running with that narrative would hold Drake's while he pees and shake it for him when he's finished. Okay, Drake has been handling this terribly since Not Like Us dropped. And please, let's keep this in mind. Drake, you're in this position because you tapped out. Okay, you chose to tap out after you heard Not Like Us.
Let that sink in. Not just subliminals, not just slick bars, but actual talk about making someone vanish. Now, we can't confirm the tape is real, but the culture is treating it like an open secret. Journalists, YouTubers, podcasters.
Okay, so what does Drake do right now? The one idea was Drake should drop a song on BBL Drizzy.
Yeah, he just needs a hit, and BBL Drizzy
is a hit.
Everybody's dissecting it like it's already fact. And once Top 5's threat hit the internet, perfectly timed with Kendrick's tour stop, fans couldn't help but start connecting the dots. And every single dot pointed straight at Drake.
So I'm like, how has he not built up this like great rapport with everybody? He's handing out features to everybody. They get these #1 singles. Like, I'm looking at this from the outside, you know, I'm a total casual. But I'm like, wow, this is up. This guy puts so many people on and nobody's standing up for him.
2 music insiders even broke it down live, claiming Drake told his camp to keep it lyrical on the surface, like, you diss me, I diss you back, all smoke, no fire.
Drake is a great rapper, but Kendrick's from the culture. You see what I'm saying? Like you can, this is my opinion, hot take. Drake is a phenomenal rapper. And Ghost Riders aside, he's a great rapper. I know he can really rap. But Drake is a fan of the culture. Kendrick is a product of the culture.
But the alleged quote that had everybody frozen? If the energy stay disrespectful, we might need to make sure he don't come back from that stadium. That one line, unconfirmed or not, sent shivers through the culture.
You tapped out. Kendrick won, and he told you to squabble up, not lawyer up, but you chose to get the lawyers because you lost the squabble.
Here's the thing, in the streets, nobody's waiting around for a press release. The hood doesn't need an official statement when Top 5 is already on video threatening to shoot Kendrick, and Drake stays silent. Add in the fact that Drake's own bodyguard was shot like we mentioned earlier. That doesn't feel like rap beef anymore. That feels like retaliation. So the $1 million question is this: was this really a hip-hop feud, or was somebody disguising a hit as music drama?
And you know, Kendrick's doing the Super Bowl, Drake's doing the World Cup.
Wait, Drake's doing the World Cup?
I believe so.
Either way, Drake's silence was louder than words, and that's when people started looking past diss tracks and straight into the cracks in his empire. Ghostwriter rumors, image control, and secrets he couldn't hide forever.
And they also said that Drake turned down the Super Bowl twice.
That's what I'm saying. So
Steve
I
Styles.
think,
And that's not shocking.
Cause let's be real, if Drake really was behind something shady, he's not about to rap about it on his next track. And even if he did, who's writing that track anyway? That's the issue Kendrick cracked wide open. This beef wasn't just about who had the hardest diss, it lit up a bigger problem the culture had been sweeping under the rug for years: Drake's ghostwriter rumors. Suddenly the question got loud. How are you supposed to go bar for bar with Kendrick when half the world thinks somebody else is writing your rhymes?
So you really believe
It has
Kendrick?
nothing to do with Ken.
Even 2 Chainz, one of Drake's longtime collaborators, made it clear where he stands. He don't mess with ghostwriting, period. He even said he felt no type of way about being name-dropped in the beef, cause he knows he keeps it solid. But things turned awkward fast when Kendrick dropped a line accusing Drake's circle of lying just to stay in his good graces. And 2 Chainz' name got thrown right into that mix.
Well, I think people just hate on Drake because he's the guy.
The Atlanta scene suddenly got tense. 2 Chainz brushed it off as just wordplay, but not every artist was so quick to laugh it away. For some, that bar felt like a shot, and that's when you could feel Drake losing control of the narrative. The whispers about ghostwriters stopped being whispers. They became part of the headlines.
I have zero emotion on it. I have zero.
But here's where it flipped again. Sino from State Property jumped in and kept it raw. While most artists stayed silent, Sino fired back, saying Drake still got that dog in him. In his eyes, ghostwriters or not, Drake wasn't soft. And according to him, Drake actually came out the winner.
Kendrick's whole thing is, I'm not trying to kill you physically, but I'm gonna kill you on this microphone.
Here's the twist. Sino claimed the most powerful track in the whole beef wasn't Kendrick's Not Like Us, it was Drake's Family Matters. Think about that. Drake did what most rappers wouldn't even dare. He stood toe-to-toe with the West Coast savior and didn't run. But here's the problem. He didn't finish the fight either. Charlemagne. The God said it straight. He crowned Drake Donkey of the Day. Not because Drake lost on wax, but because he let his ego drag the beef into lawsuits and death threats instead of just dropping another fire diss. And then came one of the craziest pivots yet. Insiders close to Drake started pushing a whole new strategy. Forget battling Kendrick bar for bar. Embrace the hate.
You could have got with some ghostwriters, went in the studio and wrote a hit to combat Not Like Us, but you chose not to. You tapped out.
Flip the BBL Drizzy meme into a full-blown song. Turn That Boy Drizzy into a club anthem. Laugh your way out of the beef. It was less war, more trolling, but even that move left people asking a bigger question. Why is nobody riding for Drake? Let's be real, this man has put half the rap game on. He gave verses to I Love McConaughey, Block Boy JB, Young Bleu, even Kendrick himself back in the day. But when the beef got ugly, the silence was deafening. No major names stood up, no public backing, just crickets. And that silence spoke louder than any diss track. Cause when people fear you, they speak up. But when they don't respect you, they just stay quiet. And that's the reality Drake is standing in right now, surrounded by silence. At the heart of this saga lies a truth that shook the entire hip-hop world. Something way bigger than streams, awards, or memes. Drake came into the game like a player watching from the sidelines before jumping in. But Kendrick, he was born in it, raised in it, and sharpened by it. And when the fire got hot, Kendrick didn't fold, he doubled down. He told Drake straight up, squabble up, not lawyer up. That's the difference. Drake didn't clap back with a beat, he hit back with lawsuits and allegedly even darker moves behind the curtain. And if that leaked audio was real, if Top 5's threats weren't just noise, then Drake's silence might not just look like cowardice, it might start looking like guilt. The image of a king falling, not just as an artist, but as a street boss exposed. Meanwhile, Kendrick played the game completely different. He stayed silent. No tweets, no posts, no internet back and forth. He just sat still, waiting for the right move. And then the NFL dropped a bombshell. Kendrick Lamar was announced as the headliner for the Super Bowl halftime show. That was the ultimate checkmate. While Drake was drowning in controversy, Kendrick got crowned on the biggest stage in America. And that raised the real question. If Drake's really that guy, why didn't he get the Super Bowl first? Some fans claimed he turned it down twice, but insiders weren't buying it. The whispers were clear. The NFL didn't want that smoke. Not after the top 5 drama, not after the ghostwriting scandal, not after the legal rumors and image control tactics tied to Drake. They wanted somebody clean, untouchable, and with a legacy nobody could question. And at that moment, Kendrick was exactly that. They chose Kendrick, and while the world was focused on that Super Bowl win, something else went down that slid under the radar but might be the biggest clue of all. During the peak of the Kendrick drama, Drake's Toronto mansion faced attempted break-ins, not once, but multiple times when the beef was at its hottest. Nobody wanted to point fingers directly, but Wack 100 said what everybody else was whispering. Even if Kendrick himself wasn't involved, and all signs suggest he kept it strictly lyrical, the energy around this beef made something real spill over, and when shots fly in hip-hop, somebody always pays the price. So what was it really? A warning to Drake? A message from a rival Toronto faction? Or some internal drama inside his own camp that exploded into chaos? We may never know, but one thing is certain. Drake's circle took a hit, and that exposed how fragile his empire really was. Even worse, the industry didn't ride for him. Artists he put on, rappers he mentored, names he gave Billboard shine to, silence. Not a word of support when things got ugly. Even Lil Yachty hinted that Drake's downfall wasn't about bars, it was personal. His reputation was the real target, and once that cracked, no one rushed to patch it up. And that silence, that was the real death blow. Drake built his empire on alliances, but when the storm hit, those alliances disappeared, leaving him standing alone in the middle of the battlefield. And when the walls finally started cracking, Drake was standing alone. Even 2 Chainz, a longtime collaborator, kept repeating in interviews, "I have zero emotion on that. I have zero." That wasn't support, that was distance. Drake wasn't just outshined, he was abandoned. And this is where it all comes full circle, right back to Kendrick. Because when Kendrick finally broke his silence in an interview, he made it crystal clear. He said, "I don't want to kill you. I want you alive to feel every bar." That's why he never acknowledged top 5, why he stayed quiet when Drake's people tried to bait him, why he never ran to lawyers. Because this wasn't random chaos, this was chess. Calculated moves from a Compton-raised battle rapper who learned to play the long game. Kendrick wasn't here to ruin Drake's life. He was here to crush his image. And when you line up the receipts, it's messy. A Drake affiliate threatened to shoot Kendrick. Drake allegedly paid for that same affiliate's murder defense. Leaked audio reportedly caught Drake hinting something needed to happen. Drake's own bodyguard got shot in Canada, and through it all, Drake's silence had people asking if he was pulling strings. If Drake wasn't behind anything, he failed at proving it. If he was, then he played it mob style. Never speak, never confirm. Let the money and muscle do the talking. But here's the catch. He got recorded, and that's the one mistake you can't erase. Charlemagne summed it up best. People won't remember the Billboard hits or the sold-out arenas. They'll remember that when it mattered most, Drake folded. Instead of fighting back with music, he leaned on lawyers, threats, and maybe even favors owed to street affiliates. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar took the biggest stage in the world, the Super Bowl halftime show, and didn't need to say a single word. That silence screamed louder than anything Drake could buy. So, what do you think? Did Drake's empire crack under pressure, or did Kendrick just outplay him from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, share this video, and hit that like button if you want more deep dives into the biggest scandals in hip-hop.